JJ the CPA here. Hope you're doing well. Practicing CPA, this is what I do for a living. Let's talk about the advanced child tax credit. The first thing I want you to note is that at the end of this, I'll be sure to move out of the way. You can do a nice clean screenshot of this if you'd like to refer back to this and kind of run back through the math that I'm going to run you through right now. But the second thing I want you to note is that this is an advanced child tax credit that will be reported and reflected and rectified, if you will, reconciled, might be another way to say it, with what you receive in advance, if you do, with the credit that you actually qualify for on your 2021 tax return. It is not a fourth stimulus check. It may feel like it, it may walk and talk like one, but it is not a fourth stimulus check that is coming from the IRS. So on your 2021 tax return, meaning the one you're going to file next year in 2022 for 2021, you're going to see that for ages 5 and under, the child tax credit is $3,600. For age 6 through 17, the child tax credit is $3,000. You may be familiar with this because in 2020 and before, the child tax credit is $2,000 per child. So in 2021, they've increased this tax credit that you'll then see on your 2021 tax return. So what are they doing in terms of the advance? So they're taking this credit, $3,600 for that age, $3,000 for that age. And if you divide it by 12 months, that comes out to $300 a month. If you have age 6 through 17, that's $3,000 divided by 12. Well, that's $250 a month. So the IRS, starting around basically July 15th, is going to start sending this out monthly. Now, we know that if they're sending it out starting in July, there's only 6 months left in 2021. So the max advance that you're going to get would be monthly, July through December. So 6 months, the advance would total up, assuming yours started in July, of $1,800 for age 5 and under. And then $3,000, right, divided by 12 months would be $250 a month. If you got that for 6 months, then that's $1,500 that you would be getting. But note this, when you go to file your tax return next year for 2021, you need to be claiming these dependents that you're getting this money in advance on. And there are some income limitations, meaning if you have high income, you may not get the full tax credit. If you don't have enough tax, you may not get the full tax credit in terms of the experience of it. All I'm trying to say, I don't want to worry you. I'm going to give you a link. The IRS has put a lot of information out there. You may have some additional questions, but really the way that you're going to need to get your questions answered is to talk specifically with your tax advisor or go down the rabbit hole that the IRS can start you down to help you figure out where you're sitting. Now, if you don't want this in advance, I'm also going to give you a link that the IRS allows you to opt out of it. So know this, the max that you're going to get is $1,800 or $1,500 depending on the age, the tax credit that would show up on your tax return. But the thing I want you to note in closing is that normally when you've done a return 18, 19, and 20, the tax credit that you're realizing on your tax return, so in 18 and 19 and 20, you would be getting, if you qualified, a $2,000 tax credit, right? So what I don't want you to be confused on is that on the tax return, it'll show for this age group a child tax credit of $3,600 or depending on if you have multiple kids, $3,000. But on the 2021 return, glad you made it to here, what will be subtracted from the credit that you get to use or realize, or the net tax credit that will actually reduce down your tax on your 2021 return, will be whatever the credit is minus what you got in advance. So if you're following, which you are, normally you're getting a $2,000 tax credit. So I'm not saying this as a negative, but the thing to note is with your withholdings, if you're following the Form W-4 formula through your employer, the withholdings is assuming you're going to get a $2,000 tax credit. This right here would be a net $1,800 tax credit on the tax return, so less than the normal $2,000 tax credit, not too earth-shattering. And then normally you would be getting a $2,000 tax credit age 6, actually through 16 in the past, but now net of your advance, you'd only get $1,500. Don't get me wrong. I'm not at all saying that you've gotten the short end of the stick, because at the end of the day, if you fully qualify, you will have gotten $3,600 by $1,800 in advance. And then the net that you have after your credit, subtract your advance, you're still getting all of that. So there's no bad thing in this. It's just being aware. It's not a fourth stimulus check on your 2021 return. You'll need to rectify, reconcile, make this whole. On your 21 tax return, you're going to show the gross credit. And on your 21 tax return, you're going to subtract out what you got in advance. Of course, the IRS is going to know all of this as well. And then on your 21 tax return, what you'll experience, is a way to say it, or realize, if you will, is the net amount. So that's where the confusion, I think, is coming in, is like, well, yeah, there is a $3,600 tax credit for this age group, $3,000 for that. But if you get any of this in advance, you'll have to subtract that out on your 21 tax return. The fact, though, that you're only getting a max 6 months of the $1,800, it doesn't seem likely that anybody's going to get too much unless your income has gone up significantly in 21 compared to prior years. So the IRS is sending these out based on how you filed in 19 or 20, whatever most recent return is on file. Of course, they know who your dependents are and they have their social and their dates of birth. They're using that to determine. And there's nothing you can do. They're either going to send it to you or they're not, meaning you don't get to go request to have it, but you do get to request if you want to opt out of it. So I don't have any recommendations for you if you should opt out of it or not. I just want you to be fully aware of how this all works. And overall, it's a great thing, because overall the tax credit went from $2,000 to $3,600. It went from $2,000 to $3,000. And they're sending out money in advance. There's really no negative here. It's more just being aware of how it works so that you're just not surprised. This is all a good thing, in my opinion. I don't know how it couldn't be in anybody else's opinion, because we're talking about more tax credits. We're talking about families getting it in advance. But at the same time, when you go to rectify it, you just want to be aware of how this works. So hopefully that helps you. Hey, listen, if you made it to here and you're not a subscriber, I'm assuming I provide a little value. Do me a favor, click it. Don't make any money on it, but as a CPA, I like numbers and I like to see the subscriber list go up, and I'd love to have you be a part of that. All right, hey, thanks for tuning in. I'd love it if you'd subscribe, and then don't you ever forget, you've never met a CPA quite like me. Have a great one.